Hey everyone, welcome to the Chasing Meet Cutes podcast. I am your host, Nicole.
And I'm your host, Trisha. Today we are jumping in. We're always jumping into something.
Yeah.
But we're actually just sitting on the couch.
Well,
we're diving in, we're jumping, but really we're sitting.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, today we're talking about age gap romances.
Yes.
So we have 3 movies we're going to discuss that fall into this category. We're going to be talking about Lonely Planet, The Idea of You, and A Family Affair. All from this past year, 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
So all good watches. So if you are just starting this episode and you haven't seen any of these 3 movies, I would suggest pausing this episode, making sure you watch them, and then come back because we are going to discuss all 3. But the first one we're going to talk about is Lonely Planet with, Liam Hemsworth.
Yes.
And Laura Dern. So, Nicole, give us a little summary of Lonely Planet before we start talking about the romance.
All right, I will. In Lonely Planet, Laura Dern plays Catherine, a reclusive novelist who heads to a Moroccan writer's retreat to overcome her writer's block. There, she unexpectedly bonds with Owen, portrayed by Liam Hemsworth, a younger man reevaluating his life choices. Their connection leads to a journey of self-discovery and romance amidst the enchanting Moroccan backdrop. Enchanting, interesting. Sure, enchanting. Maybe in the movie, yeah. I guess.
I guess. You know what's funny is like we've talked about, I feel like a few different movies already about novelists.
I was thinking the same thing.
And they're all reclusive.
Yes.
Which I guess makes sense because they're just like writing and it does require a lot of time and quiet so they can focus and write and kind of like create.
Yeah.
But interesting, right?
Yeah.
I personally love this movie.
Me too.
And
Which was shocking.
Yeah, we didn't know what to think about it at first.
Yeah, at first we were like really kind of weirded out by the whole idea, and then
this seems to be the year for like women to be in movies with younger men. Like I don't know what it is, but the age gap between the cougars and the young dudes, like, it just is what it is. But, yeah, we were a little unsure going into this one.
Yeah, like, we thought it might be, like, super weird. But,
well, again,
ultimately,
I made another comment about this before, I feel like, about watching The Golden Bachelor, because that also debuted this last year.
Yes.
And the idea of, like, older people finding love and, you know, was a little bit like, what is this going to be like? Are people really going to like it? And I think just the concept of coming to terms with like, just because someone's older doesn't mean their life is over, doesn't mean that they don't deserve to find love or like have these like romantic, not scenes, but like moments with people. It kind of, instead of being like weird, it was kind of just sweet.
Yeah,
and you were rooting for them because you're like, oh my gosh, like they're just people who want to find love. So yeah, pleasantly surprised by Lonely Planet.
Yeah,
but yeah, we see Catherine, who is clearly going through her own personal issues at home, and so we can tell that she's using this writer's retreat as an excuse to get away.
Yeah.
And she has to write a book, but also like she just needs an escape from her life.
Yeah.
And in the beginning we don't really understand exactly why. But we do come to find out that she's going through the end of a marriage and the transition of, you know, that and moving and finding a new place to live and all that has yet to take place. So she's kind of just like here, but she's not participating really with the group and much. She's just
because
staying in her own room.
She's done this retreat before, so she's seen
a
all the
seasoned
things.
writer.
She's done all the things here in this Moroccan retreat.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of the other authors are like wowed by this. Like this is like very cool and it's exciting and like
she's kind of just like been there, done that.
Yeah.
So she's
she's the one of the older
Oh, yeah.
writers in the crew. Not the oldest, but
yeah.
And then we have. Well, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, let's get into the two relationships that we see.
Yeah. We have Owen and Lily. So Lily is another author, or writer in this group, and she brings her boyfriend Owen along just to kind of like, I don't know, take in the sights, be there to experience it together, and and we kind of get a glimpse into their relationship that seems to be a little bit on the rocks. Like maybe he's like, she just recently came into like an overnight success with a book that she wrote, and the fame is kind of like catching up to her. Yeah. And he's just like,
I feel like right off the bat, he just like doesn't seem all in. And I don't even think it's because like she got this overnight success. I just think in general, he's just not all in on this relationship.
Yeah. And I think he kind of makes mention of like, he doesn't recognize her anymore. Like it's like she's kind of morphed and changed with this bout of fame, or just the focus of like having to like get book deals and how the money of it all, like, and it's not like anything bad or wrong. It's just her focus has shifted away from the relationship to all about her and her writing. But yeah, I think because he wasn't completely on board, that was just kind of like what put him over the edge. And she does have this kind of like elitist personality about her that we see in the movie, because, you know, she feels very in with this group of people. Yeah. Like they're all like-minded. They know a lot of the same things. They know a lot of the same facts and trivia
the books and the authors,
everything like that. Things. And he's just not. He's in finance. Yeah. And he's just like a regular dude, honestly. Which, can we just take a pause and talk about how great Liam does at having an American accent? His American accent, like, yes. There's a couple times we were like, ooh, it almost slipped. But mostly I'm like, dang, so you would never know.
Yeah, totally.
But overall, their relationship's boring.
Yeah, it is boring. Boring is a great word. It is very boring. And like, we run into a few moments where it's just like, oh, this is just like
not healthy.
It's gross. It's toxic. We can just call that out now.
Like, even him being there, it's like, why? There were several times where I'm like, why did she invite him? Yeah. Like, if you're doing your own thing, like, there was a couple scenes where, like, he's just going into town, like, being her personal shopper. Yeah. And says, look, whatever he's getting, like decor for the house or this and that. It's like, and I'm not saying that in itself is toxic, but why did you bring him all the way to Morocco to exclude him from everything?
Oh, yeah, she completely
and he doesn't care. He's like, I don't love to travel. Yeah. He doesn't like it.
Right. And the one thing she does include him in is that game of, I don't even know if you would call it charades. It's not really charades, but like they're not
acting.
They're not acting it out, but they're like picking out an author or a book or a character from a book that, of course, all of these people are very knowledgeable of all these things.
It's so niche. And like watching it as a regular person, I'm like, what the frick is that?
How would anybody know that? So they're like picking these things out of a hat and you have to kind of describe it, or
it's kind of like giving catchphrase.
Yeah, yeah. So she like makes him take a turn after everybody else took a turn, even though like he's just perfectly content sitting there like watching the whole thing go down. He picks out this thing. He has no idea what it's from as far as literature goes.
Right.
So he starts describing it as he's trying to, it's like a
Gladys and the Pips.
Yeah. Pip was the word, and he's thinking music. And she just like completely breaks him down for not knowing.
Completely humiliates him.
Completely like emasculates him. Like
makes a horrid comment about like, so demeaning, like, oh, well, it's not Sports Illustrated.
Yeah. Or he just,
like, something about like he only knows Sports Illustrated. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like
that's something that only a dude would know.
Yeah. Like that's the only literature he's consuming is the
Right.
Sports Illustrated catalog.
Yeah.
So
And so she did this in front of the whole group, which is like just gross. And then even what was it, like the next morning they were kind of talking about it. And she did it again, like completely just emasculated him again because she called him out like, "Oh, is it because I'm successful and you're not," kind of thing. And it's like, why would you make a comment like that?
It just shows how they're not compatible.
Yeah.
And maybe at one point they were, but at this point in the relationship, whether that's because the success she has gets to her,
Yeah.
or just being around this group of people brought that side out in her, and he's like, wait a second, like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And when he did try to bring it up, we can't like talk through this, like, instead of like owning up and taking accountability, be like, you know what, I shouldn't have said that. That wasn't fair. It was an easy low blow, basically.
Yeah, totally.
And I just think it shows her immaturity. Like,
Yes.
We don't really know their specific ages, but it's fair to assume she seems younger than him. And yeah, she just seems a little immature. And eventually I think he seems annoyed by her.
Yeah.
Like, he's just kind of putting up with her at that point.
And like, you can tell he at that point just doesn't really want to be around her.
No, she's constantly nagging him about things too. Like, you're not doing this, you're not wanting to do that. Like, at one point he goes, "Do you even like me?"
Right.
I mean, like, if you're at a point in a relationship and you're having to ask your partner that question, like, probably a red flag.
Yeah.
Or an indicator, especially if you're just dating. We're not talking marriage here,
right.
But they're dating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If someone's like, "Do you even like me?" Yeah, probably not a good sign.
No. And then we see the one scene where she like comes in super late to their room, and she's essentially naked. She has just her underwear on, no top, no bra, no nothing.
They had clearly been like doing drugs.
Yeah, because
dancing.
Owen and Catherine came back from town or wherever they were, and they kind of run into the group and they're downstairs partying, and he can just tell they're zooted, like all of them. And
he's completely uninterested in doing stuff like that. Yeah, anyway, like, right? That's just not. You can just tell that's not his personality. That's not what he's about.
Yeah. So she comes in the room like that, and it's like, I would be so appalled by that if
this is how you can tell he's so done, because he's awake enough in that moment, but he's facing away from her, so she thinks he's sleeping and she just slides into bed. Yeah. The fact that he doesn't even choose to bring it up in that moment, he probably realizes she's not of sound mind, but also I think he's just to the point where he's just like, I'm so done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care to pick a fight.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the next morning, they do kind of have a discussion. Like, she comes to him trying to, like, apologize, because I think she's finally picking up on the fact that he's not vibing with her anymore. I know I hate the word vibing, but, like, he's just not in it.
Yeah.
Like, he's so,
like,
he's
this
checked
is not
out.
My life. I don't want this to be my life.
No. And she tries to be like, now she's saying sorry for all these things. Yeah. And I was this and I was that and I should have done this. And he's like, I mean, you literally came to bed half naked last night.
Yeah.
She's like, well, no, it wasn't like that. Da, 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 da. And then, ding.
She gets a text.
AKA a sext.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, from whoever else, whoever this dude is at the writers thing.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like
it's a
half-naked picture of her.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's from the night before.
Yeah, and it says something along the lines of like
need to see you like this again. It's like,
yeah.
Excuse me? Like,
and I'm like, this is her guilty conscience catching up with her, realizing she made a big mistake. She's in a relationship.
Yep.
And I may or may not have called this woman the WH word in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Again, not her actual person. This is a character. Okay. But in that moment, I was like so upset at her. Because I'm like, Owen has been nothing but attempting to be supportive of you from the very beginning of this trip, and you've exiled him.
Yeah.
So he's had no other choice but to find solace somewhere else, and clearly he finds it with Catherine, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, at this moment, he was like, okay, this is the straw that's breaking the camel's back. Yeah. Okay. Whatever sliver of like hope he had left, it's gone. It solidified the end.
You want to know what? Remember when I was laughing so hard?
Oh, yeah.
We were watching this and I was like, it's really not that funny, but I wrote it down.
Oh, yeah. Did you even ever tell me in the moment?
No, I didn't. But what I wrote down about their relationship was that it's on the squirts. Because in New Girl.
I knew it was going to be a New Girl reference.
Oh my gosh. When, they're like, this will be quick, I swear, about New Girl. But when they're at Schmidt's bachelor party in the desert fighting all those people, and Jess and Cece are high, and Jess is like, oh, Allie's single, like I need to text Winston, but she's high and like can't type the right thing, and she types on something about that Allie and her boyfriend's relationship is on the squirts. So like that's what I wrote.
Yeah, they were on the squirts. They were definitely on the squirts. Owen just basically ends it, and he's like, yeah, I'm outie. You can do whatever you want, but see you never.
Yeah. So toxic, obviously. We
already very said that. Toxic. At least the portion of the relationship we saw. But meanwhile, all of these events are happening with their relationship. From the very beginning, he starts interacting with Catherine, the author that we talked about in the beginning. Laura Dern's
like
character.
The first night there, I think. He was like on the roof and she was down below.
Yeah, she was looking for water or something, like her little apartment villa situation. For some reason had no running water. So she's like walking around the whole resort trying to find water. And she runs into Owen. And they just have an immediate connection, just as two humans. Like, they can talk with each other. Of course, we mentioned before, like, she's been keeping to herself this whole time. So Owen's really been the only person that she's interacted with outside of the group.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because he's not even really in the group. Like, they're not talking writing. They're not talking literature. They're just talking life.
Life, yep.
And, yeah, first of all, I just want to say, like, as far as Laura Dern, like, I think she's so beautiful. Like, and I love that she doesn't, like, she looks her age in the most beautiful way. Yeah. Like, she doesn't look like she's had a bunch of work done. She doesn't look like she's filled with Botox and everything's perfectly in place, but we're going to throw an old age on her and pretend like it's a realistic love story. It's like, no, like, he clearly looks 35 and she clearly looks 55 or 57 or whatever. Definitely like a 20-year age difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just love that, like, they didn't alter her or like doctor her up at all. Yeah, like they just make her, they just took her natural beauty and made it great on camera.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I think the first interaction we see between Owen and Catherine is they both decide to go into town, like, separately. They just decide he needs to get away. She needs to find a place to write. And they both end up sharing a car to go into town, and they start just chatting. And he's like, oh yeah, like I've seen your face. I see your face in bed all the time. And she's like, wait, what? And he's like, oh, my girlfriend's obsessed with your books, and so I see your face on the back of the cover.
Yeah.
And their little meet cute on the roof before we get into the relationship, since it's chasing meet cutes, I thought was just, again, one of those actual meet cutes.
Yeah.
Not planned, nothing extravagant.
Yeah.
Just right place,
very
right time.
Very simple, very organic. Just,
Yep. So tell us a little bit about when they are in town together on that first day.
Owen just seems so, like, intrigued by her. He's kind of just, like, eyeing her from afar, and it's like kind of just like, I think I want to actually get to know her a little more, even though they've already shared this car ride. But I think that sparked him just, like, wanting to know more about her. and her story and why she's here and why she's like kind of alienating herself from the group, that sort of thing. I think, don't they end up having like lunch or something together?
Yeah, and then they kind of just shop around.
Yeah, they're just bebopping around town.
This is when he's the personal shopper. Yeah. That's what they kind of have that moment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed so easy.
Yes.
There was no fuss.
And Catherine is equally as intrigued by him. Like, she's asking him questions to genuinely get to know him. And we kind of see this like side story going on about him having to have all these work phone calls, and he's trying to process this deal about like he's basically like some type of investor, and he's buying property for something, and there's a deal that they're wanting to go through that he's not feeling like so great about, and he doesn't really want to do it because he doesn't think it's going to be in the best interest of his client. Yeah. But he's being pressured to, and he kind of shares that with Lily at one point, and she's like not really feeling it. Yeah, like she doesn't care at all. And so when Catherine asks about the work phone call or a text he got, he's like, "Oh no, it's fine. It's just a work thing." And she's like, "Well, what is it? Like, she's like, "No, what do you do?" Like, "Yeah, I want to hear about it." And he finally like opens up to her and tells him about it, or tells her about it. And I think the thing I wrote down about Owen is just in that conversation, we just see that he's a man of integrity. Yeah. Above everything that he is. Right. Charming, of course, very handsome, but he is a good guy. Yeah. Like, he genuinely doesn't want to do something that's going to hurt somebody else. Right. Yeah, but they both kind of like, I don't know. I think he shares with her that he's not really loving traveling, and he doesn't travel that much. And she's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, they just can talk about everything. Yeah. And he's just their like normal everyday lives. Yeah, he's just truly fascinated by her. When they get back to the resort, is this when they this was the night of the charades. The charades thing. So when he decides, he gets pissed off and blows it off. Yeah, he ends up finding her. Yeah. And they just have like this moment in her room. I don't even know why initially they went to her room, but anyway, they have this moment in her room after the game. And again, they're still just like sharing more of their lives. Like, it's like they just want to know more and more about each other each time they have these meetings. And this time he kind of is like asking about like, so does the man in your life, like, how does he handle this fame? Yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, how do you know I have a man in my life? And he's like, reveals that he's Googled her, and like looked up her Wikipedia. And so they kind of like laugh about that, and it just becomes this more of like a playful conversation than informative. It's like she's then guessing like, oh, I bet you had a nickname. Like, you definitely like, you're like quarterback. Like, I just know it. And they kind of have this banter back and forth. And first of all, can we talk about his nickname, the Big O? Oh my gosh. Ew. Gross. But yeah, right when he starts to ask about, her story, she basically says, well, hey, it's a long story. And he's like, Wikipedia isn't updated because yes. And he's like, well, hey, I've got time. Like, I just love that he was just willing to be present with her. Yeah. And like, I have nothing but time for you. Yep. But to listen to whatever it is you want to tell me. Exactly. He ends up getting some sort of phone call or text, and it kind of interrupts, and he has to leave in the moment. But oh, I love the quote he said though before he left. Oh, okay, tell me. About the quarterback, because she didn't know, she didn't know whether he was a quarterback or a receiver. So this is when he reveals, like, I threw the ball. I didn't catch the ball. I threw the ball. And then he said, "It's my field. I decide what happens on it." And I just thought that was like hot. He wasn't talking about football. No, he wasn't at that time. We see a few little football references thrown about in this movie. Yeah.
I mean,
That is cute.
I think it must have been the next day where he like follows her into town.
Yeah, because
She was going to go alone.
they both decide to stay back from the desert at this point. Um,
Again, because she's seen it all. She's done all these little expeditions with the writing group.
and
So,
he's like sicker than a dog. Like
oh
he
yeah.
got food poisoning or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go all the way to the desert." So he hangs back,
Mm-hmm.
sees her and this other dude, and they just again pick right back up. It's like it's like one constant conversation
Yeah.
and experience between them two. Like
Yeah.
it's I don't know, it's just so sweet. Like they somehow at the end of the night of that day they end up by the fire, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing in her room. And you can just the way they were looking at each other, you can just tell
Yeah.
like it had gone beyond, oh, let's just like catch up, like you're just some random author and I'm just a random dude, like
Yeah.
we both are here, so let's just like get to know each other in a friendly way. No, they
Mm-mm.
wanted each other
Oh,
in this
sure.
moment, okay? They had those eyes that were like
Oh yeah.
full of desire.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think
She like
Whew.
she asked him like why. She's like, you followed me into town. Like she saw him in town, and she's like, you followed me into town. And he's like, no, I just was also there, kind of thing. Even though he ultimately admits like he did follow her, but it was because he wanted to make sure that she was safe. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
And
so
also,
cute.
let's just take a moment. I mean, it's no like it's not a lost thought that Liam Hemsworth is handsome.
Sure.
Obviously, he's always been handsome, even when he was like 20.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a man.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they end up kind of having this like steamy moment by the pool that like one of the nights,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
they kiss. Okay, they share like one kiss, and in between moments of kisses, she makes this like quiet comment, like you said, maybe she thought was like almost seductive,
Yeah,
or like
playful, or like
yeah, but it didn't hit the way she wanted it to.
No.
She said, "I could really be careful. I could fall for a kid like you."
Yeah.
And he immediately was just like turned off, like what'd you say?
kid.
He even said, "What did you say?"
Yeah.
Or what'd you call me? And she said, "A kid." Like,
Yeah, she didn't think anything
no,
of it.
she wasn't trying to mean it in like a demeaning way. But to her, I mean, a 20-year age difference. I mean, the thing is though, like he's not 19, 20,
Right.
25 even. He's like a 35-year-old man.
Right,
He's not a
right.
kid. But
Yeah.
to her, she's like, I think that was her own like defense mechanism of like, there's no way someone like this good looking and this young could be interested in someone like me,
Right.
who's in my 50s, divorced. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
she didn't see the value, like her own self-worth in that moment. So she was just trying to like do what we all do. She self-sabotaged in that moment.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of glad because he hadn't officially ended things yet with Lily at that point.
Right.
And it was like they were both totally checked out, but like it was like that next morning that they had their blow up conversation.
Yeah.
And we find out that she was sleeping with some other random dude and the whole naked picture thing.
Yeah.
And then they did finally break up. But yeah, you can tell she had immediate regret in that moment. Like she screwed up.
Yeah.
Because she didn't mean to like hurt his feelings.
Exactly.
But then he shows up at her door the next morning and is he's like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
She apologizes. Like, I didn't mean that last night. Like, I didn't mean you were a kid. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And he then says, like, I'm leaving. I don't know where I'm going, but I think you should come with me. And she ultimately says, Let's
go.
ride.
Let's go.
Let's go. And I love that. Like,
Yeah.
the conflict that they had was so like quick,
so minor.
Yeah,
in the
like
grand
they were
scheme.
just still like, okay, let's give this another chance. Like they clearly valued each other's time enough to be like, we want to give this another shot.
Yeah.
Um,
And things like pretty quickly ramp up here.
They really
like
do.
It gets spicy. I know I keep using that
Dude.
word, but it is.
Dude, at the end of one of their days, they're like walking in this alley, on their way to their hotel room.
Yeah.
Spicy makeout scene. It's giving Bachelor one-on-one in the middle of France somewhere, and he puts her up against the wall and starts making out with her. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the vibe. And obviously that just like snowballs into going into the hotel room, and they have a steamy night together.
Yes.
And he just tells her, like, in a moment, like in a sweet moment afterwards, like, I just feel like myself when I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. And she just says, same. Which I think the thing I love about this age gap in particular is, again, not to keep bringing up Golden Bachelor, because she's a little younger than the age we see there, but it just kind of like humanizes her when she's like, same. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes we just assume that, like, when you get past a certain age in life, you no longer have a desire to find love or have life be exciting. You're kind of just like waiting for the time to run out instead of like living life to the fullest until the very end.
Right.
And so I think we kind of see, like, she finds a new excitement in life because of him.
Right. And she even is like, because she's been stuck on this book for the whole time. Mm-hmm. She's not been able to write. Right. Doesn't know what to write. But now, all of a sudden, she's writing.
She's inspired.
She basically finishes her book.
She do.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. He wakes up to her in a chair. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, I was inspired. And he's like, interesting.
Interessante.
Mm-hmm. You know, he seems inspiring.
Oh, 100%.
And I love that it's not just about sex. It's not just about, like, he's such a hot guy and he's like, oh yeah, cougar. Let me get that. It's like, no, they shared such a deep connection before anything physical or romantic even remotely happened. Mm-hmm. So by the time that does happen, there's so much more there between them. Right. And it's like a real love or an appreciation for one another. Yeah. But I love too, because she's writing and he's like, do you want some alone time today? Like, I can go off and do something. And she was like,
heck no.
No, I'm good. Do not need to be alone. It's like Dan and Shay's song, we should be alone together. Yeah. Okay?
But they kind of just go exploring in wherever they are. Somewhere still in Morocco. I just don't know where. They kind of go exploring. They're just having this moment by the sea, if you will. Mm-hmm. And she has her laptop like sitting behind her on this wall. Mm-hmm. And
stupid, by the way.
So dumb. But, you know, it's a movie. Anyway, these guys come by, swipe her laptop, and they're off. Like on a motorized scooter cart situation. So obviously Owen tries his best to run after them, but like they're on a scooter, like a motorized vehicle.
And not only that,
and he's on foot.
He continues to go around on foot.
He's running. He's looking everywhere in town. Like,
she's losing her ever-loving mind.
She is having she's full spiral, full breakdown. She's like, that's my book. It's not backed up.
I was going to say, like, this is where we see the Gen X.
Oh, sure.
Boomer in her. Yeah. Like, it's not on the cloud. It's not backed up. It's not saved on a flash drive. It's not
leaving it to sit there in the open in general is
it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Like, she's got to start from the beginning.
Yeah. And
so she's losing her mind.
Yeah, she's very upset. I mean, understandably so.
Definitely.
But like he's really trying to calm her down and like make the best of the situation. And he's like
so supportive.
He's like, I will still go and look around, like, you know, I'll do what I can, whatever. And she just can't get past it. She's so stuck in that spiral mindset. Like,
Mm-hmm.
basically calls him a distraction.
Like, I should have never come.
I should have never.
Done this.
Yeah.
And even when she's like, I just got to go home. Like, I need to get on a plane and
she
go
was
home.
leaving.
And he was like, okay, like, let's go. Like, he was
Yeah.
like right there with her, willing to be like, I will
I'll
hold
go
your
with
hand
you.
through this process.
Yes.
I understand. I'm here for you. Let's ride this out together. And she was
wasn't good enough
She was
for her.
total panic mode.
Yeah.
And she just ends up sabotaging
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole
And it was
thing.
so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she said that she was like, it was just a distraction.
Yeah.
There was a moment, I have a note down here that said, look this up on ChatGPT, and I didn't look it up. But when she talks about running from danger versus...
Oh, when she's doing like her book interview thing.
Because time has passed. Like, they ultimately do separate. Like, she flies home.
Yeah.
And he goes home.
Goes his own way.
And does his own thing. And we see, like, just the transition clip was just, like, seasons changing. So we don't know exactly how much time has passed. But safe to assume probably nearly a year, if not a year. And, yeah, we see kind of her on stage at some sort of, like, conference, convention, where she's being interviewed and talking about this book that she wrote. And, yeah, she's just talking about running from danger versus running into safety. And it's just kind of this moment where you can tell she's kind of found some healing. And then we see them, she's like at dinner at this random bar with a couple friends in a booth. Yeah. And we see him also at that same bar at a different table with some friends. And he catches her eye. Yeah. And goes over and just, she's obviously surprised to see him. And it was just like, they had a sweet little exchange of like, hey, how are you doing? It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And doing good? Yep. You live here? Oh, I'm just here. You know, just a polite little exchange. And
she like wanted to get out of the booth to like greet him. And she's like, no. Or he was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm headed out kind of thing. Because they were going to a show of some sort or something.
So we see him. He walks out. He leaves. He's with his friends. And we see, 5 steps behind him. She's running out the door after him onto the street. Yeah. And they have the final moment together. So and I will say, in the moment before the laptop got stolen, when they're sitting by the sea, you know, they're just talking about how they're so glad they found each other and this is exciting and it's real and just like all these great things. And he starts to explain another football term about the swing route. Yeah. And how it's kind of like this last ditch effort to like make a quick change in play. And ultimately it helps, you know, potentially score or win a game or whatever your example is. And so when she runs out after him onto the street, you know, she tells him like, I finished my book. It's called The Swing Route. And he's like, really? The swing route? And she apologizes. And I love that she takes ownership for the way that she treated him in that final moment in Morocco, because she said like, I panicked. Yeah. But that doesn't, he's like, it's okay. She's like, no, it's not okay. Like, I shouldn't have said what I said to you. I didn't mean it. I was wrong. Yeah. And I've spent every moment thinking about you and missing you.
Yeah. And like wanting to reach out and all the things.
Right. Like, but what do I say and all this? And, like.
The best quote.
Yeah. Say it.
So she tells him that he was never a distraction, but he was the whole point.
She said, you were the whole point.
So cute.
And his friends are like, come on, Owen, you come in. He's like, yeah, I'll be there in a sec. And then she tells him that, and boom, he goes in for the kiss. Yeah. Guys, wasn't this just everything? Like,
so
from
good.
start to finish, this movie just like hit all the feels.
Yep.
And it was such a good slow burn. Like, even through their romantic scenes, it wasn't like 0 to 60. It was just at such a good, healthy pace. And even though they had time apart, their moment of coming back together was so justified and so sweet. And they have a great foundation to build off of. And I just ultimately, 5-star movie, 10 out of 10. Great on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, truly, so I'm like, are they both, they if they weren't like with other people, like they could be together.
Yeah, totally.
I would totally support it. They look great together. Their banter was cute. It was so sweet. Liam Hemsworth is just so talented and
non-toxic.
Lily and Owen, very toxic, like we said. But but yeah, the next age gap romance that we're going to talk about is The Idea of You, which is another age gap, but it's definitely a lower, like a younger couple.
Yeah.
Where obviously Anne Hathaway's character is 40 years old and Hayes Campbell is 24. So do you want to read the little summary of The Idea of You?
Yeah. So Anne Hathaway stars as Solène, a 40-year-old single mom who unexpectedly finds herself in a whirlwind romance with 24-year-old Hayes Campbell, the charismatic lead singer of the world's hottest boy band, August Moon. What starts as a reluctant trip to Coachella with her teenage daughter quickly turns into a life-changing adventure as Solène navigates the thrills and challenges of dating a global pop star. It's a delightful tale that reminds us love can find you in the most unexpected places, even in a backstage trailer at a music festival.
Now, I will preface this by saying this is a book, and I have not read the book, so I can't compare all the details and the differences. So we're just going to be talking about the movie. That's not what we're here for
anyway.
Yeah, we're just going off of the romance we see on screen, not in the book. Overall, what are your thoughts on this, like, storyline of mom meets superstar singer?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely weird. Definitely one of the like less realistic scenarios, if you will.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
No.
Really, like as far as the age gap, her having a teenage daughter, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it there. Mm-hmm. I did like their relationship.
I did too.
Yeah.
I think the thing with age gaps, like even in real life, is like people want to immediately start doing the backwards math.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, well, when they were this age, he was only 12. It's like, okay, but we're not talking about that. And they weren't together when they were that age. Like let's not do that.
Yeah, let's
not do that. Unless we're talking about like a 50-year-old dude and an 18-year-old, like that's when we can be like, okay, well, last year it would have been illegal.
Right. Like 6 months ago would have been illegal.
Right. So, but yeah, for an age gap of 16 years, like let's just not do the backwards math and like make them feel weird or wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it was wrong or bad. I do agree that it's a little bit like of a stretch in realism, but hey, I'm sure.
Yeah, and of course it gets a little hairy with the teenage daughter,
right?
Not because she's a teenager, but it's like you're adding in someone else's child,
right,
to the mix. Even if he wasn't 24, it's still the same. You know, like even if he was also 40, it's like.
I will say
that transition is awkward in general.
That's like the difference between this movie and A Family Affair that we're going to talk about next. Mm-hmm. Those two movies both have this child in the mix that really does bring in this tension that the woman has to consider.
Right.
Where in Lonely Planet, they're not in that place.
Yeah.
And even if we don't even know if she has kids, but even if she did have kids, it's like her kids are grown. Like it's not going to be a factor. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting dynamic that we do see because of that.
Yeah.
But I thought the meet cute was like 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Super
it was
cute and funny.
Yeah.
And just like from even the beginning of her like knocking on the little door, and he's like, yeah, just give me a second. Like, I don't know. And him just still being there when she comes out, she's immediately like weirded out.
Yeah.
Like thinking he's like a weirdo.
Yeah. She's like, are you one of those like ASMR people like that likes to listen to people pee? And he's like,
no, he's just trying to drink his Pib Extra.
Yeah, he's like, this is my trailer.
Also, when did it go from being called Mr. Pibb to Pib Extra?
I don't know. Pib Extra. I thought both existed still, but
wait, they're not the same.
I don't think so. I don't know either. I used to be like a Pib Extra fanatic. I think just because it was like different than Mr. Pibb.
I don't think they're different. I hate
maybe
to
it's just like a new branding.
I think it's a rebrand. I think it was like
so long ago.
I don't know, but anyways, Dr. Pepper still, prevails. So we see her have this meet cute. He's obviously taken back by her beauty and her wit, and she's just stunning in this movie. Like you said, Anne Hathaway is looking like her very best in this movie. So she's gorgeous, and so he's just kind of like, oh wow, like this is a woman.
Yeah,
like clearly the other dudes in his band are dating college girls. Or young 20s that are not taking life seriously.
Yeah.
They're just there for the hookup and the excitement of the music world. They're basically groupies.
Yeah.
If we can say that.
For sure.
But she's just kind of not fazed by it. She's like, oh, he's a boy. But I mean, she obviously thinks he's like cute, but
yeah.
We see her birthday party, her 40th birthday party scene. And we get a glimpse into what her options would be should she choose people her own age. And it sucks.
It's bad. It's
like
woof.
Todd,
I cannot.
Todd.
They all were just horrific.
Yeah, all the birthday party combos that she had with these men was just like, wow,
this is real life.
Like, can we just end my party? Like, party's over, go home.
See ya.
Yeah. But then we see her, she owns an art gallery, and she's just at work one day, and in walks Hayes.
Mr. Hayes. Because I guess they mentioned that she owns an art gallery.
Yeah, they did a meet and greet at the festival, and her daughter's friends kind of like outed her in that way. Yeah.
He just like made a mental note that she had an art gallery in Silver Lake, California, and he shows up there.
He do.
So
he's looking for art. He's in the business of filling his new apartment with some new art pieces.
His flat is empty, apparently, in the UK, and he needs to fill it. So he literally buys everything in the gallery. And do you think... I think there's multiple reasons why he did this. But do you think it was like to show her his money? Or
no.
Okay.
Not at all.
I didn't either, but I kind of had that thought. I was like, oh, is it
that?
Or...
I think it's his way of being like, this is your business, and I want to support you and make you successful, so I'm going to buy every single piece in here. So, like, you have a great work day.
Yeah.
Like, your job is to sell this art in here. Like, that's why it's here.
And it worked in his favor later. Which
not at first. She was insulted at first. She was like, listen, this is real art. Like, people work hard on this.
I'm talking about later.
Oh, well,
where she's like, no, I have to go, when he wants her to go to New York or something, or the UK leg of the tour. And he's like, or she's like, no, I have the gallery. And he's like, well, I bought everything in it. So, like, you don't have anything to sell. Because, like, artists need more time to fill that gallery back up. Anyway, so that it works in his favor in that sense.
He definitely used it as an excuse to spend time with her, to see her and all that. And they end up spending the day together, really. And, they definitely had a little connection. And they're both kind of just discussing how they have trust issues for different reasons. And they start to share stories. They kind of, she shares kind of like what happened with her marriage and how he was cheating on her, and just the sacrifice she was willing to make to stay with him to salvage their family for her daughter and her, and it just like wasn't going to happen.
And everybody in her life knew about this affair that he was having besides her. So that obviously really bothered her that like
of course
she was the only one not in
humiliating.
The know. It is.
It's like 10 times more humiliating than it already is when your spouse is cheating on you.
Yeah.
But so they kind of share these personal stories and they're connecting, and she gets a phone call from her daughter. He's like, "Oh, a piano. I'm going to like sit down and play my piano." She comes back in from the phone call and my things heat up.
She just like puts herself right on in there.
Well, she stands close, but he
but she had to stand close for him to be able to do that.
They both wanted each other, okay?
No, of course.
He pulled her in, and they definitely have a spicy kiss.
Oh, yeah.
But she immediately is, like, feeling the tension of, like, his age. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm too old for you.
I'm too old for you. And he
immediately.
Says, no, you're not, and literally grabs her neck and starts kissing her again.
Yep.
And she's like, you could be my kid. I could be your mother. And he's like, but you're not my mom. So
and then he keeps kissing her.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not taking no for an answer. And it's not like no means no, not like that. Right. But just like he could tell she was trying. She was trying to find excuses for it to not work, and he's like, "No, I don't care how old you are. Like we connect, and we both want this, and whatever.
Yeah, let's just like own up to the fact."
Right.
And then she's like, I should take you back to the hotel. He agrees, but he leaves a little token on her credenza,
a little timepiece,
her little entryway table.
Yes.
He leaves his watch, obviously, so that she'll have to reach out and be like, I have your watch.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Smart move, honestly.
Yeah. Then we see him, invite her to go to New York, or he like texts her.
He texts her
and says like, I'm going to be at this hotel in New York next weekend.
Well, the first text is, there. I can't stop thinking about that kiss.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Okay. They were both thinking about that kiss.
Who wouldn't be?
Right? So she takes her daughter to summer camp. So she's like home by herself, no responsibilities outside of herself. But even the art gallery is
empty.
Like you said, completely bought up. He does offer to say like, hey, or he just says like, hey, I'm going to be in New York at this such and such hotel.
Join me.
And she does.
She does. She does. And again,
she really stepped into this, like, when she decides I'm going to New York, she's like, I'm going to be like the little
I'm going to play this role.
Like, oh, I'm walking into this room right past security. He knows darn well what she's there for.
Yeah.
Okay. She does a little knocky knock on the door. He opens it. They have a tiny little exchange of pleasantries. Hardly.
And they just get right.
They really do. Again. And you know what?
They cannot keep their hands off each other.
Here's the thing. Listen, okay? Little disclaimer / reminder. Yes. We are women of God. Okay? Yes. This is not a good example to follow.
No,
okay?
We don't agree with
We do not agree with this. We don't promote this. We don't suggest this as a good option.
You want to do this with your husband? Go right ahead.
Do it. Heck yeah.
Meet your husband in New York at
Surprise
the hotel
him. Do whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
But they are not married, and they do all the things married people do. And they're there for what seems like a few days. Yeah. Like, they're just ordering room service. They're
chicken tenders.
Yeah, they're singing and dancing and
just having back-to-back spicy
encounters. Love encounters. They're doing married people things without being married. But anyways, that's when he kind of proposes that she come on tour with him.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like, how can I do that? I'm like, no, I can't do that. And then he's like, well, you're my art consultant. Like, you have to come.
She's like, what will people think? And he's like, I don't really care what people think.
That is a common theme from the very beginning with him.
Yeah.
She's the one self-conscious about it. He's like, I don't give a rip.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Why would he? Yeah.
Exactly. Like, if anyone's going to care, it's going to be people of her age.
Totally.
But also we do see when, she finally agrees to go with him, and she's around all these younger girls, she definitely feels a little insecure around them, just like even in her own body.
Mm-hmm.
But also just she sees the difference in like even conversation.
Yeah.
What they're talking about, where they're at in life is like a complete 180 of where she is.
It's all just like surface level stuff that's like,
oh yeah, and it's like, oh, I'm in college, oh, I'm taking a year off to travel, oh, and she's just like a mom of a teenager, divorced, owns a business, owns a house. Like she's not that she's better than them, but she's just in a different stage of life. Different stage of life.
She's already lived that part of her life. Yeah.
So the girls start asking her like, oh, like, how did you guys meet? She starts to tell them the story of the original meet cute and at the festival, and then she's like, oh, and then he like dedicated this song to me.
Yeah, and they're like,
immediately like, closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that. And then the bandmate was like, we always do that song when one of us like has a girl we want to like hook up with or whatever. And immediately just demeans and diminishes the moment she thought meant something.
Right.
And you can see on Hayes' face that it did mean something.
Yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh.
He's watching this spiral in her mind happen in real time. And she obviously walks away.
Yeah.
He follows her. They kind of have a tiff. And, you know.
She starts
just like insulting him, basically. Like, you're in your 20s and I'm this and you're da-da-da-da. So she leaves. And this whole time, like, we see her ex-husband, like, and his young little girlfriend.
He's such a loser.
Truly.
He is such a loser.
Like, and he's so selfish and just self-absorbed and has no awareness to how his decisions have affected her, but is hyper aware on how her decisions are going to affect him.
Exactly.
And the funny moment, I will say one little thing about his girlfriend, you know, she's there and basically tells her, like, just so you know, like, I'm breaking up with him. Like, I know him and it's over. He's horrible. And then she's like, okay. And then,
why are you telling me this?
Yeah. And then the girl goes, would you want to get Thai food sometime? And immediately she's just like, no. Like, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Why would I want to do that with you?
But I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
So, you know, obviously some time had passed because it kind of came out in the public that there were some pictures leaked of them together in Europe. And she gets a text from Hayes saying...
Yeah, I mean, we missed the whole part, though, where after she leaves and she meets Izzy at camp, her daughter, and her daughter's, like, mad that her mom lied about the relationship, but she's also mad that, like, she called it off. Because she's like, I wouldn't have been mad about you dating him. I'm just mad you lied.
Right.
So... She fixes things with him. Like, they were broken up, but then they fix it, and then they
she kind of does the grand gesture moment that we see a lot in rom-coms, and she shows up to where he's at in the studio and apologizes, and they immediately get back together, and they're like, we're all in on this. Like, they form a game plan of what it's going to be like, and the kids are going to delete the social media. They're like, yeah, let's do this. Like, we're in support of this.
They show this whole montage of them together again, just like enjoying their holiday. They're back in Paris or whatever. Which is when they get caught by some paparazzi sees them out at dinner. And then we see that's when it gets posted online. Once they get back, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah. And, you know, we see a little example of some hate comments that she's getting. And it just kind of brings to light this, like, not so much new. I mean, because it's probably been over a decade now, but, like, it just gets worse every year, I feel like, of social media and the access that people have just to say hurtful things that definitely get back to the real person of it all. And if they choose to look at comments, how detrimental it can be. And just, like, you're just saying such hurtful, hateful, demeaning, horrible things to these real people.
And the excuse is always, well, like, they put their lives out there. And it's like, okay, that doesn't give you the right to just be this keyboard warrior and say hateful things to people.
Right.
It doesn't just give you access to do that.
And also, I just feel like, sure, I think people getting like fan mail and sending like weird, hurtful mail was like a thing like in the 90s and probably before social media, before the internet took over. But outside of the tabloids and like paparazzi running stories, there was no
comment section.
There was no comment section. And like, even if people were, it's like, it's not to the degree that people are so willing to and so quick to be like, you deserve to be dead. It's like, or go kill yourself. It's like, what?
It's so wrong.
I don't understand that. So you kind of see a little bit of that, and now you kind of see how the daughter is beginning to be not okay with it. Like, it's affecting her at school. People are just like making comments about her mom. Like, the boy she likes says, "Oh, tell your mom I turn 18 in a couple months." It's like she thought she could handle it, and she realizes that maybe she can't, and she chooses to.
Which is understandable. She shouldn't have to handle that for sure.
But of course, her ex-husband just uses this as like ammunition to be like, you suck, and our daughter doesn't even want to be around you because it's not safe, and blah blah blah. And so she picks him up from the airport and basically ends it with him again, and says, I can't do this for Izzy's sake. Like, her daughter, like, I have to choose her, like, I have to put her first. And we get it. And he's kind of like, I'll quit everything. Like, I'll end it right now. Like, I don't care. And she's just like, no, I can't ask you to do that. And he's like, you're not gonna.
It's like it wouldn't fizzle out the way he's
that's what she said. She's like, it will only get worse.
Yeah, totally.
Because then it's her fault that everyone's favorite pop artist is like quitting and all this stuff.
Like the court of public opinion already hates them. Like, it's gonna be much worse.
So she just saw her opportunity to exit and took it. And his response after offering to quit was, you're not going to fight for us? And I just thought that was kind of unfair of him. Like, even though maybe one could argue, like, she should have just stuck it out, like, because they have real love between them, and true love always wins. And it's like, it's not always that black and white.
It's not that simple.
Not, especially when you have a kid in the mix. And it's not fair of him at this point to say, you're not going to fight for us, because it's not about you guys. Her choosing to walk away has nothing to do with the love that she has for you or you have for her. This is about her daughter and her daughter's well-being. So I don't know if it was that same night or like separate night or something. He basically shows up at the door, and he's just like like his eyes are just filled with tears. He's sad. He doesn't want it to end, and he basically tells her that he loves her, and she says it back, and they kind of have this farewell moment between them. And they have a tearful makeout sesh. And ultimately decide to part ways. And they say, listen, we got to give it 5 years.
Make a 5-year deal.
And she said, promise me you'll take any opportunity to find love and happiness, and I'll do the same. And they kind of have this agreement. And then we see the 5 years later, flash forward, and
he's on the Graham Norton show.
Which, by the way, I love watching clips of the Graham Norton show.
I know.
It's always so funny.
It is. So he's on the Graham Norton show, and Graham's asking him about his tour. Like, I feel like you've been touring forever. Like, what's next? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm probably gonna, take a break. And he's like, are you gonna go anywhere specific or do anything specific? And he says he's gonna go to LA. And he's like, what's in LA? And he just says, there's somebody there that I really want to see. And so, cut forward a little bit.
And she's watching this scene.
She's watching this on the TV.
Clearly hasn't found love. He clearly hasn't found love.
So, cuts a little bit forward. She's in her gallery. She has a new haircut.
Looks great.
Her
daughter's excelling wherever she's at. In college or wherever.
So she's at the gallery. She turns around. None other than your boy is there.
With a little bit more scruff.
Honestly, a little longer hair.
I could do without the scruff.
Yeah, the scruff was...
It didn't really give 5 years older. It just gave, like, you need to shave.
Yeah.
But He was there.
Yeah, he shows up. She is kind of tearing up because she's obviously happy to see
They
him.
exchange 0 words.
They
in this
exchange
final moment.
no words. They don't kiss. They don't hug. They don't
just
nothing.
Smile at each other.
And I'm like,
and then the credits roll.
I'm like, you mean to tell me you guys had all these other
moments?
And
we know they did kiss in that moment. We just didn't get to see it. Come
exactly,
on.
which is so stupid. Like you showed all these other spicy moments, some of which we didn't need to see.
No, yeah,
all of.
Truly.
And you can't even let them kiss at that end? Dumb.
Yeah. Come on, people.
Yeah.
So honestly, like, I love the movie. The ending, however, I wish we had more of it. So for that reason, I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
I like that.
But their relationship wasn't toxic at all. I thought it was actually kind of healing for her.
Mm-hmm.
And also just taught him a lot about life and what sacrifice is, and all that. So that's that movie. I will say I did enjoy seeing the age gap of the 16 years with the 40-year-old and the 24-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it was like a younger couple versus like the next tier up. Mm-hmm. But we do see another 16-year age gap in a family affair between Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron. So give us a little quick. And in this one, honestly, it's a lot of the similar issues as The Idea of You. So we really don't need to talk too much about that. But there are a few things worth mentioning about it. So give us a quick little summary.
All right. So a family affair. Nicole Kidman plays Brooke, a widowed writer who unexpectedly falls for her daughter Zara's, played by Joey King's charming movie star boss. Chris, played by Zac Efron. This surprise romance leads to a series of comedic and heartfelt moments as the trio navigates the complexities of love, family, and unexpected connections. It's a delightful reminder that life often throws curveballs, and sometimes love finds you in the most unexpected places.
True.
Hopefully.
Just not at a music festival this time. I just love Zac Efron.
Me too.
Okay, he can do no wrong. And for all the haters out there that want to hate on his new look, you can just go somewhere.
I know.
Okay? If you don't want to watch it, you don't want to look at him anymore, don't.
Don't. And don't comment on it either.
Don't say anything about him. I will take you down.
Yeah.
He's our peer. Same thing with Liam Hemsworth. We were just commenting. Like, these guys, when they were like 19, 20, and we were like around the same age, they were heartthrobs.
Right.
When we look back at movies that he's been in from like 15 years ago, I'm like, holy crap, he looked so young.
So young.
But in that moment, I remember being like, oh my gosh, he is hot. And he was. He still is in that movie, but he's a man. He's a man.
Yeah. Those abs.
He's got the abs. He's got a thick neck. Let me tell you, okay? He's built.
Gosh.
He's got the muscles. And you know what? It's probably because I'm sure he filmed this around the same time as the wrestling movie he did.
Oh, yeah. So he was just shredded.
He was jacked,
yeah.
Okay? He was very broad and big. But anyways, we love Zac. He can do so many things. So can Joey King.
Yeah.
Okay? She's hilarious in this movie.
Mm-hmm. It's honestly kind of weird to see her be like an older,
I know,
adult
instead of just like
basically
a kid character or a teenager or something. Weird. Mm-hmm. Right.
But she does so great.
Yeah. So Joey King plays Nicole Kidman's daughter and also the assistant to Zac Efron's character, this big movie star, not celebrity. That's demeaning.
Yeah.
He's a movie star. Chris Cole. So Chris Cole is 34.
Yeah, 34.
And Brooke is 50.
Yeah. So 16 years again.
Yeah, and I think this is like a good age gap where it's like nobody's really going to like stick their nose up at it.
I'd do it.
I know you would. I don't know if I would. But I'll never say never.
It depends on the 50, like who it is, obviously.
That's true.
But
Martin Henderson? I don't know, he's probably over 50, but I don't know. Maybe not. Martin, if you're not over 50, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Plaha, I know you're married.
Yeah, 100%.
I got you with that one. You weren't expecting me to say that.
Lord.
Anyway, so 16-year age gap. They meet. They kind of have their meet cute is like kind of a funny situation where he walks in the house looking for her daughter Zara.
Yeah, he just walks straight in the front door of their home.
She's just cleaning, and it's like, why did you just break into my house? He's like, well, the door was open and I came in. She's like, do you always let yourself in? He's like, well, I'm a celebrity
famous,
or I'm famous, so yeah.
It's like, so I can basically do whatever I want.
So they kind of start talking, and I thought it was funny because he's like, oh, do you work here? And she's like, no, like, I live here.
This is my home.
This is my house. I'm Zara's mom. And he's like, well, were you in like kindergarten when you had her? Because clearly he's like, you look way too young to be the mother of an adult woman.
Right.
So they started throwing back some tequila shots, and one thing leads to another, and they
mind you, Zara's not at the house.
No, she's gone.
He's waiting for her because he wants to give her job back.
Yeah, he fired her in a low moment.
But yeah, they do start tossing back some tequila shots.
Yeah, and it leads to sex.
It does.
Leads to a kiss. Married people things.
And they hook up.
They do. They hooked up. Okay? And mid-hookup, Zara gets home.
Poor Zara.
And she's going around looking for her mom, and she ends up walking in on them, and it's completely grossed out. Like, truly horrified,
chokes
mortified,
on a grape.
Turns around after choking on the grape, rams her head into the door frame, passes out. They freak out and go over to her, and she's like actively gagging because the idea of them together. And
like her boss, she's like, she doesn't see her boss in that way. And
he's like the most self-centered dude. Like in the very beginning, that's all we see is just all the setup of how like he doesn't appreciate women. He's always looking for a way out. He doesn't actually want to be with somebody. He's just so self-absorbed, and he doesn't have friends. Like he doesn't have family. His brother passed away, we learn. And so he's just kind of like all about him until he meets Brooke.
Yep. I mean, obviously they had to take Zara to the doctor with the head injury situation.
And he literally is wearing
her shirt. Yeah, her t-shirt.
Doctor, which is so funny.
Yeah, but they're bringing Zara home from the doctor, which is like obviously a pediatrician's office. There's like all these zoo animals everywhere. But anyway, Zara ultimately agrees that she'll work for Chris again if he will stop hooking up with her mom. So
he has to make her the associate producer on his movie.
And so he's like, yeah, no problem. I get it. Like, cool. Whatever.
And the mom agrees too. Like, that was a bad idea. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Won't happen again.
Except for basically the next night he texts her and is like, dinner tonight? And
she says no.
She declines. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to make a reservation anyway in case you change your mind. So she shows up looking absolutely stunning.
Yep.
As does he in his
her little
in his suit.
LBD.
Yep.
Little black dress.
Yep. And he has this reservation, and it's like in this restaurant, but it's completely empty besides them and the wait staff, which I thought was like kind of
so
cute.
Sweet.
I'm like,
listen,
that's really
if
nice.
you're gonna be a movie star of that caliber, like that's the type of date I'm gonna expect.
100%. Okay, like you should be able to call a restaurant and be like, I need the whole place.
And I love that he was like, oh, I used to work here.
Yeah,
like it shows like actors a lot of them work in the service industry on their way up. So when she walks in, I loved his comment because he was just like, you look. Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cute.
Yeah.
He looked fantastic.
That suit was so nice.
Made for him.
Yes.
Probably literally tailored for his body. But he looked great. They both look great together. They have such good conversation. The night just keeps going on from dinner to the walking the lot. And they end up in this prop room or something.
Yeah, props, costumes, all the things.
And they're just continuing to talk about their life stories and he made a comment about her writing. I don't know if you caught that, but he made a comment about her writing, and she was like, you don't know anything about my writing. You've not read any of my books or anything like that. And then he proceeds to quote something from one of her books, and she's like, okay,
So you do know something about that. I thought that was really cute.
Obviously, they both had sworn to Zara that they weren't going to see each other anymore. And so they had this moment of like fighting the urge to like be together, to kiss or anything. And she's also has her guard up. Obviously, her husband passed away. She hasn't been with anybody since then. She hasn't kissed anybody since her husband. And instead of being like a player, he's just like, he kind of sees that and he gets that about her, and he gets the gravity of her being with him. And I love the moment where she's like basically decides to give this a chance, and she was just like, don't like, lie to me. These are the rules. Don't lie to me, and don't pretend that this is more than it is.
And she also said the first rule was don't break my heart. Don't break my heart, don't lie to me, and don't pretend this is more than it is.
He agrees. They give into the moment. She comes home from that night to Zara being like, where were you? And she's like, I had dinner with Chris, and I should have told you, and I didn't. But I did. Yeah. And then we see the cutest montage.
Oh, so cute.
All these little moments of them together on the beach.
Yes. Just being like cozy by his little fire pit.
It's giving cottage core.
Coastal vibes.
Coastal grandma. Oh, not that Nicole Kidman's a grandma.
No.
But like big cozy sweaters, like winter on the beach. Like that's what we saw. And Zara is losing her mind. Like at every moment. Mad. She's so selfish. Yeah. She's so insecure. She's got daddy issues. And not only is it affecting her mom and her boss's relationship, but it's affecting her own friendships. Yeah. We see Liza Koshy plays her best friend in this, and she's going through her own relationship problems, but Zara is so focused on herself and her own situation that she can't even see what's going on with her own friend, no even though she's literally living with them at the time, because she ran like she was like, I'm not staying in my house if my mom's going to be with my boss. But yeah, I mean, Brooke definitely feels that same tension that Anne Hathaway felt in the previous movie we talked about, because her daughter's not happy with it, not accepting of it, and she's like obviously doesn't want that to be the case. Yeah. But she also has real feelings for Chris. Yeah. So she's kind of met with that, tension of her disapproval. I mean, we do see a scene where they, she sees them together again. Zara sees them together and freaks out. And
at the dinner.
Yeah. So Brooke makes the decision to be like, all right, we just got to cut this. Like, we got to call it. Yeah. I can't have my daughter being like this upset with me. And he's disappointed. And again, they have a phone call later that night. He calls to check in on her and everything okay, and how's Zara, and
he asks like, when can I see you again, or whatever it was, and she's like, I don't know, like kind of thing.
After the holidays
maybe. And
and this is when he accidentally was like, all right, well, love you.
his like, face what did I just so say? Funny after he said that, and it's like, I know cute. He meant it,
absolutely, obviously. When it rolls off the tongue like that.
Yeah, but his reaction to him, it was just so funny. It was so funny.
So funny. So
then we cut to it's like Christmas time now.
And she tells him like, I'm going up to my mother-in-law's in Big Bear to like help her set up for the holidays and whatever. So I'll be there.
Yeah. So she goes. She's decorating the tree with Kathy Bates, her mother-in-law.
Kathy Bay.
Which Kathy Bay.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's the goat.
I don't remember what her name is in this movie.
Me either. But she's just Kathy.
We talked about how we loved that she's the mother-in-law and like still has such a great relationship, because obviously her son has passed, but she still has this great relationship with Catherine. So we loved that. We thought that was really sweet. But anyway, they're decorating for Christmas, and she's like, okay, if you want him to come, like, let's just invite him. Like, who cares what Zara thinks? Like, if he makes you happy, invite him up here. Or if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it, kind of thing. So,
Right. And she's a little bit like having a little fangirl moment too. She's like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, he's a movie star. Like, he's
Ooh.
probably cuter in person."
Mhm.
Like,
oh, she totally has the hots for him. But like not in a
definitely.
weird way.
No, but just kind of in like the I'm so for this. Like,
Yeah. She's like, you deserve happiness. Like, you deserve to be loved and all these things. And
mhm.
and she's like, basically, don't worry about, you know, what I think about as far as obviously you were married to my son, that sort of thing. Like, it's not a thing. Don't make that be what stops you, or even Zara.
Mhm.
And she kind of, Kathy Bates, we need to find out her name.
Mhm.
Anyway, she has this conversation with Zara as well. Like, kind of like, you need to buckle up.
You need to take
You
the
need
back
to-
seat here. Like,
yeah.
you don't get a say.
You need
and also,
to-
like, you're not 10.
Right. You need to grow up.
Mhm.
And
She even comments on
This
her
is-
attitude. Like, there's no room for your little, like, petty attitude here.
exactly.
So, like, love ya, but get over it.
Yeah. And she does, ultimately.
Here's what I love that she brought up, and I think this can be probably relatable for maybe some girls or women that have been in a similar situation with their watching their moms like try to re-enter the dating scene,
Mhm.
especially after a loss. It's got to be like so tough.
Right.
She's obviously working through her own emotions about it, but when Kathy Bates is talking to Zara, she's again we have to find her name, but she's talking to her and she says something about like she made a comment about like my mom, this and that. She goes, "Is that all you think of is
Mhm.
of her as your mom?" She said, "Well, what else would I think of her as?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "A woman." Like she's more than just your mom. Like,
Mhm.
yes, that's a big part of her life, but that's not the only thing that she is in her
Right.
life. And again, it just goes to that. It supports that whole idea of like your life doesn't end when you get to a certain age.
Right.
When you experience a loss, it doesn't
Mhm.
mean you can't find love again.
Right.
And it doesn't automatically mean that you can only find love with someone your age or older. Like,
Right.
I just love that she gave permission to Brooke's character
Yeah.
to say, if this is real, you got to go for it. Like,
Yeah.
you deserve it. And she has another conversation with her, even when Chris is there. Like, after she sees them interact, she has this conversation, and
Mhm.
Brooke kind of opens up and says, like, I don't want to need him,
Yeah.
because if I need him, then I open myself up to the possibility of losing him, and I can't
Yeah.
bear to
And
do
that's
that.
gonna hurt.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. And she's like, this is just the beginning of the end, you know. And Kathy says something so great. She's like, the end is none of your business.
Yeah. Yep.
She's like, listen, the
Wise,
this is the
wise
beginning
words
of the
from
end.
Kathy Bates.
And she's like, tomorrow's gonna come whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And like the end, like the beginning, it's always the beginning of the end.
Right.
Like anytime you decide to do something, it's a risk.
Yep.
And so however it ends, that's not your concern right now.
Yeah.
Your concern is that it's good right now.
Exactly.
So I just love that. Again, it's her as her mother-in-law still mothering her
Mhm.
and still valuing her and wanting the best for her. And, yeah, we see everything's great, and Zara's having this great moment all together.
Yeah, they're opening gifts, and it's
Great Christmas. Chris is even like, this is the best Christmas I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously not used to having family
yeah.
at all, and so he's loving it. And
Yeah, we see them head out. They're going to go back home. Zara's putting the bags in the cars, and she sees Chris's bag in there, and she sees in the little side pocket there's this little red box, which we didn't talk about it in the beginning, but he was going to like give these earrings to this random girlfriend he had at the very beginning of the movie. But Zara knew what that meant, like the earring situation. Like he was just going to
yeah, it seems to be his thing with like
his
a
MO.
recurring like his MO of like when it's going downhill, he's gonna gift this girl the earrings as kind of like a parting gift.
Yeah. So
she freaks out.
She sees those and she's like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna do this to my mom." And they get back home. She exposes him in front of her mom for the earring situation. And ultimately, Brooke kind of gives into that narrative from Zara and is like, oh my gosh, like, nope, it's
She's
over.
scared,
Yeah, she's scared.
Even though he's saying, like,
she's
no, you
hurt.
don't understand.
She's hurt. She thinks, like, oh, he just does this with every girl. He takes every girl to the lot. He does the whole prop room thing with them, all this stuff. And again, he's like, that's not what this is. Like, it may be the same, but it's also like, that's what I know.
Right. And also, you're different.
Yeah. So ultimately, they break it off because Brooke lets it get to her head. They break it off. A little time goes on, and Zara ultimately goes to Chris. They have a conversation. She sees how heartbroken he is and how much, like, he actually does love her mom. And she finally just comes to that realization, like, oh crap, like, I ruined this.
Like, I messed this up.
Yeah, she messed the whole thing up. So now she's got to fix it.
She's got to put her producer hat on and create another meet cute for them. And that's kind of what we see in the final scene of this movie. She takes him to the grocery store, which he's, like, obsessed with. He doesn't get to go grocery shopping all the time because he's,
too famous.
He's too famous. And she also knows that she got Kathy Bates involved to be with her mom to show up to the same grocery store. And they basically bump into each other. They notice one another and they have this conversation. But before they do that, it gives Zara the opportunity to be like, hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm not, you guys, this is weird, but somehow it works. And I'm not going to get in the way anymore. Yeah. I think you guys have something good and you should see it out.
Yeah.
So I support it.
Yeah.
She walks away. They have a moment. And, I forget which one of them says, like, I think it's her. She's like, are you sure we should do this? Like, this just seems like a long shot. And he's like, who cares? Like, does that mean that we shouldn't take it? Like, even though it might be a long shot, I still want to see this through. Like, I really like you. And so they share a final kiss. And right off to the side, Zara's producing, like, go for the produce showers or the rainstorm.
And just the mist on the produce starts going.
And that's how it ends. Yeah. And I will say, we did kind of have a little laughter moment of their kissing. Listen, we've watched 3 age gap movies in a row, and let me say, I don't know what it was. I didn't love their on-screen chemistry. Love them as individuals.
Yeah.
But the on-screen chem, I don't know. I just think their lips weren't meant to be together.
Yeah.
And I think we saw Zach. He was just like, I'm trying my best, honey. And she's just like trying to find him. I don't know what happened.
I'm dead.
I don't know what happened there. But ultimately,
no hate, no shade. But
no, love them both as individuals. Again, I just think sometimes the on-screen chemistry, like, it wasn't there for me as much as the other ones we talked.
Sure.
Like,
especially Lonely Planet.
I was just gonna say, out of the 3 movies we discussed, the Lonely Planet is by far my favorite.
Yeah.
And I thought the age gap romance came across the best and the most believable. Like, I actually thought that could work in real life.
Yeah.
Versus the other ones.
Because there's probably similar here, the 34 and 50.
No, not just age-wise, but like like personalities.
Okay,
and like, do I think that they could have, like, in Family Affair, they could probably have a good relationship. Do I think it's endgame? Maybe. I don't know, though. Like, I also wouldn't be surprised to be like, they dated 2 years, it ended.
Yeah.
Like,
I could see that.
But like Liam Hemsworth and Laura Dern, like, they're
married to this day.
They're married. They're living their best life.
Yeah.
Till the end.
Totally.
Okay. So that's kind of what I mean. Like, as far as believable or like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was excellent. So,
toxic or non-toxic for a family affair?
Toxic seems extreme. I don't think it's toxic.
Me neither.
Again, I just don't know if it's endgame material. And I do think that Selene and Hayes could be endgame because they did give themselves 5 years of separation and still chose each other. So I like that relationship, and I think they have so much life to live together. Like, they could have kids together if they really wanted, and have a long, happy life of togetherness.
Yeah.
But I think the moral of the story is your life's never over at any certain age. You can always find love. And also, don't do married things unless you're married.
Yeah, most importantly.
Most importantly. But Jesus loves you even if you did do married things before marriage. So
100%.
That's just our opinion. Love you guys. Thanks for watching or listening. Watching. Someday, hopefully soon, we can be watching this. But thanks for listening. As always.
Yep.
Love you guys.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.